Come on, Peyton. Come on, Peyton. Peyton. Peyton, come on. Attention, 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 attention. Can I get everybody's attention, please? Excuse me, can I get started, please? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the September 27th meeting of the Student Advisory Council. I told them to start. We will now call the September 27th, 2023 council meeting to order. Ms. Gibson, will you please call roll?
Anike Akani Jenkins, Kelsey Allen, Zachariah Artister, Marquavius Clayton, Tamar Eccles, Liam Geisler,
Here.
Damar Goodman,
Here.
Denisha Griggs,
Here.
Hayden Hall,
Here.
Terrence Harris, Shataria Hightower,
Here.
Daria Hughley, Tanaya Lawrence,
Here.
Luke McCullough,
Here.
Herman McGee, Malik Paris, Iridian Ramos, Kevin Scott Jr., Kyla Sewell,
Here.
Brooke Shelton, Liam Smith,
Here.
Madison Walker,
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the August 23rd meeting?
I motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
It was moved by Peyton and properly seconded by Tanaya. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please check the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the September 27th Student Advisory Council agenda? Is there a motion to approve the September 27th Student Advisory Council agenda?
I motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
It was moved by Tanaya and properly seconded by Marquavius. Are there any questions? Yes.
I would like to propose an amendment to the agenda to add discussion of AP interview questions. If all are okay, the original motion and the second can remain.
I motion AP interview questions. Is there a second?
I second.
Are there any more questions?
I would like to put forth a motion to discuss responses to the student advisory thing with the people going around to the schools.
Please clarify.
Within the last week, Dr. Caldwell Thompson has been visiting schools. I'd like to see if we can, or I'd like to propose a motion that we as a council sort of discuss the general feelings of our schools.
And he's referencing the Student Bill of Rights, just for clarity. Gotcha.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I second that.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. would like to introduce Dr. Battle and Dr. Gadson for meeting with us today. Thank you for coming. Please review the letter given out. It is this one right here. I'm going to read it. This was also given to Dr. Battle, just for everybody's reference. I hope this letter finds you at a good time. My name is Brooke Shelton. I am the newly elected chair of the Atlanta Public Schools Student Advisory Council. On behalf of SAC, I would like to congratulate you on your position and hope we can work together in making APS a better place for not only students and staff, but the community as a whole. As a council, we have come together to establish goals to present to you as a way to extend our welcome and present our priorities on how we would like to make impactful change in our district. 1. Student-led professional learning workshops for principals and administration. 2. Provide better marketing strategies for non-core curriculum. 3. Create a strong relationship with the city of Atlanta. And 4. Diversity.
You're ready for her to come and address?
We're
or
ready
talk
for
to-
Dr. Battle, yes.
Yeah, that wasn't clear.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I am so excited to be here. And when I received this letter, I was more excited because I know these were great ideas. And please know that we're already working on them. I have with me my chief of staff, who's Erica Long. I have with also Dr. Gadson and Dr. Sparks, and my, who's an executive director that works on Dr. Gadson's team, and my special assistant, Sherry Forrest. So we're already working on these for you. I'm going to just talk about the first one, student-led professional development workshops for principals and administrators. We're planning for you all to attend a principals meeting and present to the principals. So we're in the plan. I mean, this letter came yesterday, so we're planning on that. So we'll be getting with you, making a connection. Yes, ma'am, Peyton.
Will this principal meeting be like the one last year where there were select students that came to the developmental workshop?
Say it again, Peyton. I'm sorry.
Will this be like the last year's? Will this meeting, the meeting that you're talking about, be like the last year's meeting?
The last meeting?
Last year's meeting.
Last year? Oh, I wasn't here last year, so I don't know. I don't, Keith. No, this would be different. You would definitely be giving your ideas. And so it would be structured with Dr. Gadson. So it would be different, Peyton.
Hi, Brooke Shelton, right here. Is this principal meeting will be an all-day thing?
No, it won't be all day. We will give some parameters and let you all work with Dr. Gadson. He's going to get with you guys, and he's going to work with you maybe a couple of hours out of your day to arrange it. So it won't be all day. We won't take you all day. We know you have a lot of things going on. So, but Dr. Gadson, I mean, when we just got this letter, well, I just sent it out this morning. So, but we had. Okay, yeah.
Will our time be valued like the other presenters?
Yes, absolutely, because you'll be talking directly to the printers and principals. The number 2, provide better marketing strategies for non-core curriculum. My chief of staff, she sent this out to the divisions that work on each one of your bullets, A, B, C, and D. She sent it out to them, so they're going to come up with their plan. Create a stronger relationship with the city of Atlanta. Also, she sent this out to the department that works with this, our safety and security department. To our safety and security department, and diversity. She sent the last part out to our equity team as well as our world language team. So all of your issues will be addressed. We'll get an opportunity to share what you need to share, as well as get you the information back to help you do the things you want to do this year. Any other questions?
Hi. Yes, he likes to say that a lot, but to me, this is interrogation. So I have a couple questions.
Well, I'll take them, Brooke.
I just want to know, how do you plan on meeting, coming to every schools? Do you plan on doing that? I mean, especially high schools in general. Do you plan on doing school visits?
Absolutely. How many of you all have been in your school already? So yes, there's a couple of high schools I've been to. I've been to approximately 26 schools. I went to 19 traditional schools, and then I went to some partner schools, charter schools. So I'll get around to your school. But I know I've met a couple of, I've walked into classrooms, and some of you would say, hey, I'm on your council. So yeah, so I'll get to see you, Brooke. And if you don't see me at the school, you may see me at one of your athletic events or plays or whatever you have going on at your school. Yes, Tamara.
Hi, Dr. Battle.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm Damar Goodman. I'm a senior from South Atlanta High School. My question is, even though you are interim, do you have any big goals for APS that you plan to implement or that you plan to advocate for?
Yes, absolutely. First thing is leading with care. And that includes from me to the custodial cast, teachers, everyone, leading with care. And the care stands for compassion. And we want all of our employees to treat our parents with compassion, each other with compassion, our students with compassion, our business partners, everyone, because we know we thrive when we're working together. The accountability, making sure we're held accountable. And this group, you're holding me accountable, which I appreciate. And you're holding the staffs accountable. So, and we're going to hold you accountable as well. You're our best and our brightest, and we're so excited to have you. The R is for respect. Respecting each other regardless of our title or our age, that we respect all of our students and respect each other as well. And the E is for empathy. We don't know what everyone's facing every day, so we got to walk with empathy, knowing that we will put ourselves in that person's place in order to move forward. Academically, of course, I want the best and the brightest for all of our students. I want every student to go to a school that they feel welcome, that they're getting educated, and that they're expanding their minds and having opportunities for clubs to make lifelong friends. So I'm just excited about that. And of course, the literacy is a big push. And it's a lot in 10 months, regardless of your interim. I have that interim title, but it's like you have a title, but you're doing everything. So just take that off. I'm your superintendent. We could take that off because I'm going to work as hard as any other superintendent you had, probably harder, because I got 10 months to do it, so I got to run a little faster to get things done. So just know that I'm in it to win it, and that I'm here to work with you and to make sure we have a successful school year.
Hi. Excuse me.
Oh,
over
right
here.
here. Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
my name is Peyton. I go to Washington. I was just wondering, when you're visiting each schools, like, what exactly are we looking for in each schools? And a follow up to that is, what are the plans after you come to each school to better whatever you have seen?
Great question. Yeah, I'm looking to see if teaching and learning is taking place, first of all. I'm looking to feel the culture of the school. I mean, as a superintendent, as a person, you walk in, you know if you feel welcome. And I watch, a lot of times before we walk in, we're watching to see other kids walk in, seeing parents walk in, see how people are being treated. And when we come back, if we see some things that need to be done, we collaborate. We talk about the instructional strategies we saw. We talk about if there were some cultural things like, hey, let's call that school back. Let's talk to the principal about this situation. This parent had already called us about this situation, following up with parents. So just making sure we're getting the total picture. When I went to schools, I had an opportunity to eat lunch. So of course, during lunch is unstructured time. So kids I got an opportunity to have definitely engage with our students. And during that time, students told me, hey, my bus is late every day. I get to school at 9:03 and school starts at 9 or whatever, at middle school. So just making sure that we follow up on those things. When we came back, call transportation. Or in the car, on the bus going to the next school, call transportation. Hey, this is what we're hearing from our students. What are we doing about it? So basically addressing those things.
Matt, how long have you worked directly with kids? Like with us, it's like, this is really, really close, not just for kids, but with. How long have you worked with children, like partnership-wise?
Oh, how long do I work with kids? Oh, thank you. You want to know my history, right? Okay, thank you. All right, I like that. Like, let me tell you about myself. I've worked with kids for 32 years now. I started off as a teacher in North Carolina where I taught middle school, and then I taught elementary school. After that, I became an assistant principal at a brand new elementary school in North Carolina. And then after that, I became a principal of a Creative Arts and Science magnet school in North Carolina. After which, I fell in love, got married. My husband's job was already in Atlanta, so I moved to Atlanta. Coming to Atlanta, I became principal at Parkside Elementary School. And then after that, I went to Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School where I was principal. After that, 3 years, I became an associate superintendent, so I supervised schools in the Mays cluster, the South Atlanta cluster, Thorough clusters. Where else have I been? I've been around, so yeah. And at one time during COVID, when COVID hit, when Dr. Christopher left, I became interim chief of schools and academics for Atlanta Public Schools. After which I retired. And that's when Dr. Herron was leaving. When you do good work, people call you back, right? So they called me. I was on my way to Aruba, and they said, Dr. Battle, would you come back and be the superintendent? I'm like, what? I'm about to go on vacation. And they said, well, think about it. I said, I'll let you know when I come back. So, of course, I thought about it, and I thought about you. Not you in particular, but students of Atlanta Public Schools, because I loved working with students. I love what I do. And if you know some of my former students, they love me too. And the teachers and principals. So I said, I can do this. I'll come back and help with the transition. So that's what brought me back to Atlanta Public Schools. My passion for the work, my passion for people, but more importantly, my passion for students.
Hi, Brooke again. Our last superintendent focused on the 4 E's, so for those students who might not want to be enrolled, how will we continue pushing other post-secondary options?
Yes. So constantly pushing post-secondary options, talking about once they leave high school or in school?
After.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And not just that, maybe enlisting or entrepreneurship is big as well. So not just going to college or university.
Absolutely, because college and universities are not for everybody. So definitely, I'm glad we have those options in our system. And so I definitely will continue to push them, expand them, because we know we need more. I saw your letter. We need more. So basically supporting what students need. When they say they want to try this, or parents, because I heard a student last Saturday, some of you all were with me last Saturday. She was on the panel with me, and then she talked about expanding those programs for students. So I'm definitely for that. And sometimes we don't know until you say it. And she shared a lot of us with us last Saturday.
It is really not for recruitment. It's to build leadership and character. And if students like that discipline and like that path, they can definitely help students get enlisted in whatever branch it is that they're looking for. But we have opportunities for our students, even that don't complete high school, through our adult ed program. And we have a partnership with Atlanta Metro that gives students scholarships to attend Atlanta Metro if they want to do that, Atlanta Technical if they want to move on to technical school. And so we do everything that we can through the options that we provide to students, not only make it to college and university, but to explore other options going directly into the workforce, to the military, and other options as well.
May you please address entrepreneurship? How can we support students in that aspect?
So CTAE is the pathway that we offer those entrepreneurship skills and opportunities through our business programs, providing internships for students, inviting speakers in, and those opportunities. So that is one of the pathways under career technical agricultural education.
Hello, my name is Kyla Sewell. I'm a senior at Thera High School. I caught on to you saying something about internships. Now, I do know that we have business pathways in our schools, but as far as like the aspect of us actually practicing being entrepreneurs and internships, I don't think I've ever like seen a internship like opportunity at my school. So can we possibly just start working on getting that out more and like actually, actually working hands on and like getting that like communicated better?
Yes, and so through CTAE, we're trying to expand the workforce or work-based learning opportunities. Right now, we typically have students who already have jobs and other things, and while that's a path through work-based learning, the path that we actually want students to take is the career pathway that you choose, right? That you actually seek to complete your end of pathway certification courses, and that you actually get job experience in those pathway areas because that actually allows us to give you credit for that work-based learning experience in the pathway of choice. And so while you wouldn't get an internship in entrepreneurship, we could, if you are going through cosmetology, work with someone who has their own salon where you have the opportunities to ask them how they started their business, how they developed their business plan, how they got funding for the business, and those types of things. And so that's what we would do on the entrepreneurship side.
Dr. Gadson, before we get the next question, after the next question, I'm going to let Dr. Gadson introduce himself. You see, he's our man over all of schools, so he knows exactly what everything's going on. So I'm going to let him or someone from his team introduce themselves. I'll let everybody introduce themselves on my team so you know that it's not a one-show party. It takes everybody. It takes, just like it takes all of you all working together, it takes all of us working together for you in order to better you. So I'm going to get Luke, and then I'm going to let everybody on my team introduce themselves because we have lots of talented people.
Well, hi, Dr. Battle. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Luke McCullough. I'm a senior from North Atlanta. And while we were on the topic of number 2 in our list, I just kind of wanted to reiterate, in addition to like non-core curriculum, like we're an IB school, and I feel like this is a pretty common consensus with our students. It's almost hammered down on us that IB is our only choice to get into like top colleges. And I know that's like pretty specific, but I know for a lot of high achieving students, it might not align with their like educational background or like what they're like prepared for. So I was just wondering if there were any plans, like not necessarily just in this, but in general, to kind of like combat that just within like the IB schools and kind of that like idea that that's like the end all be all for like your success, not even just in higher education, but.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So IB advanced placement would definitely be options that we encourage because you can earn college credit. And so that's why they would push that. But it should not be something that is communicated as the only pathway for a student to go to college. So we would definitely promote those programs, our dual enrollment programs, our advanced placement program, our IB program, and other clusters as STEM would be their signature program. And they're going to try to encourage students to work through that pathway because that's also a pathway to college. But we expect students to be involved, the community service hours that you have. Colleges like to see that you are a whole child, that you've done something beyond the school day to help others and provide service. They want to see that you have good grades. But one of the most important things that colleges want to see is that you have a story, right? I was able to help this young man that wasn't the top academic student, struggled, dropped out in his 10th grade year, came back, and made it to graduation. We worked on his story. And when he got an interview, he was able to tell them how he struggled, how he learned from dropping out, how that made him a better person, why he wanted to go to college. So he was able to tell his story, and he was able to gain entrance to college, not on his GPA or not all of these extraordinary things that he did outside of the school day, but because he had a story that said, I can struggle, I can persevere. If I fall, I get back up, and I am going to complete this college education if you allow me to get in. And they were able to see that his story showed that he had what it takes to make it.
Hi again. So on the topic of promoting things outside of advanced placement, we have a lot of things that you guys just spoke of, like internships, work-based learning, that no student really knows about. So they're just there as resources, but nobody knows. So how do we plan on promoting those things more effectively?
So, and I did see that, but we just got your letter because I would hope CTAE is near and dear to my heart. And I tell this story even before I was an educator. I was a business economics major at FAMU. And it was a young man from here in Atlanta who had gone through a barbering program. And he attended FAMU. He got Pell Grant. He got other financial aid, but he didn't get enough money to pay his full tuition. He decided he did not want loans. So he started cutting hair in his dorm room, and I had been getting my hair cut out in the city, found out about him because he was in my dorm, went to him, and he did a great job. And so I started giving him my money to cut my hair, and he told me about his story. He was cutting hair in the dorm room, started his own business right in the dorm room to make money to pay the other portion of his tuition that he didn't have dollars for. And when I found out about the fact that he had his barbering license and training through the CTAE program here in Atlanta Public Schools, I've been a proponent of CTAE since then, because I tell people CTAE isn't about college or career, it's about college and career. And some of our students take what they've learned in that CTAE program and put themselves through college. And so we can't discount that. And so that is something that I'm working with academics on because CTAE reports to another one of Dr. Battle's chiefs. And when I heard that we might not have promoted it as much as we should and students might not be aware, there's a lot that we need to do with our school counselors as they're advising students, with our CTAE teachers about how they get information out for students, our recruiting efforts for our work-based learning programs. And so we've got to do a much better job of getting that information out there, because this isn't new information. It's not new programming, and it just concerns me that students might not know what we offer.
I'm sorry, just to add, it's not just about CCA either. It's things like Hazel Health, things like mental health in schools, things like just knowing the different pathways that your school has.
Right.
So not just focusing on CCAE, even though, because it's been there, it's more than.
Right, but that still goes back to our school counselors and the advisement and how we're making students aware of all that we have available. All of our high schools are comprehensive high schools, and we have lots of stuff going on. And how do we do a better job of making our students aware of everything that is available to you?
Hey, I'm standing up and it's hard to tell because, again, I am the same height as it just right here. Hi, I'm Sherry Forrest. I am the special assistant to the wonderful superintendent. But one of the things, the power of you all, right? Like, you're in every single one of our high schools, every single one. So we can come visit, but we're not there. So think about this team being like the problem solvers, right? Like we have an issue. What do we do? How do we solve it? So this made me think immediately about communication. Like how do we what you're saying is how do we communicate that to the rest of the people that we go to school with so they know, right? So wouldn't it just be a great opportunity for this group to come up with a common communication plan for the district that then you help implement at your school level? Like the power of you is way more, in this room, is way more powerful than us, right? So how can we help you help create a communication plan that we would use for a district model that then you would help roll out in your high school? So just kind of a thought that I had out there. Okay.
Before we entertain any more questions, I'm going to do as our superintendent asked. I'm Dr. Timothy Gadson, and I'm the deputy superintendent. When Dr. Battle asked me to join her team, I had no hesitation. I was here once before. We were associate superintendents together, and I know how Dr. Battle works. I decided to come on board because, one, I'll do anything for Dr. Battle. She's that kind of leader. But also, she's extremely collaborative, and she is student-focused. It's students first with her, and I appreciate any leader that puts students first. But she's also a collaborative leader. So she has a core team that meets with her. She's open to multiple perspectives. She likes to hear those perspectives before she makes a final decision. Not saying she can't make decisions on her own, but it's important to her to hear from multiple perspectives to inform the decision that she's going to make, because she knows every decision she makes as superintendent impacts students in the classroom. And so you are first and foremost on her mind as she's making decisions and as she pushes us to give her the best advice we can offer, informed advice that we can offer her that allows her to make the decisions that she makes every day. And as superintendent, she makes a lot of decisions behind the scenes, and all of those decisions impact you all. And so I'm glad to be on her team because of that. Oh, yes. So I grew up in Florida, born and raised in Daytona Beach, and I was a business economics major, as I shared with you all, at the Florida A&M University, and just knew I was going to go into the world of business. In my junior year, the dean of the College of Education called me and several of my other peers from across the university and said, we need more black males in education. And so we were all looking and wondering why, because we weren't in the College of Education, and we didn't know why he was sharing that with us. And at that time, he made a life-changing offer for me, because he said, I will pay your tuition for your junior and senior year if you minor in education. We didn't have to change our majors if you minor in education. And little did I know that decision that I made to do that was so significant in my life, because as I graduated, I had accepted a job here in Atlanta with Trust Company Bank. And my mom got ill. I signed a no-compete clause with them that they didn't release me from, even though I never worked for them. And so I couldn't work in the industry that I wanted to work in because of the no-compete. My family is not wealthy. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and remember that certification that I had gotten just because I minored in education. Started teaching and never looked back. And so I served as a district director of secondary curriculum and school improvement. I've been an associate superintendent, director of high schools. I've served as a superintendent, school district superintendent. Of course, I was a teacher for a while. And all of that has been all over the United States, West Coast, Midwest, and here down in the South. I've been an educator for 30 years. This year is my 30th year. So Dr. Battle has me by a couple of years, but not by many. And I never look back. The decision to be an educator is one that I truly value because we were just talking. My friend here in the back and I were just talking that this is the only profession in the world where we touch our futures every day. And so that saying that you get out what you put in, I truly believe that. And that's why every day I make every effort that I can to provide excellent service and require folks to provide excellent service for you all.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Isaac Sparks, and I work with Dr. Gadson in the Office of the Deputy Superintendent. I am in my 28th year of education and starting my 18th year with Atlanta Public Schools. I stand as a proud educator, and my story is similar to Dr. Gadson's in that education wasn't my first choice for a career profession, but I came into this as a second profession. And once I started it, after being a social worker for 6 years, I fell in love with it and I haven't looked back. I was not in the top of my class. I was very average in high school, but I knew I wanted to go to college, and I went to college against the odds. I was the first in my family, the first male in my family to even go to college and graduate, setting a precedent for other males in my family. I say that because, and when I came in, I went around to each of you and I spoke. For those of you all were here, I got your names and your schools, and I asked you what your plans were, because I think you just got to have a plan. And if you have a plan, you can work your plan. And when you work your plan, you'll be successful. In APS, I have had the opportunity to work in the curriculum space, developing K through 12 curriculum for literacy. I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of years in the high school space, which is the space I love the most. I have worked with our graduation coaches in our high schools. I've worked with our college access programs in our high school, Achieve Atlanta. And for anybody in the last 10 years that have seen a graduation, I've had a lot to do with the logistics for that. So this is work that I love, and I'm happy to see you all be so articulate and clear about the questions you have and the support that you need. I didn't have a voice like this when I was in high school. So I appreciate you taking time out of your schedules after a long school day to speak to us and know that your voices are being heard, and you will see outcomes from the things that you've lifted to us. You'll see action taken on those. I'm looking forward to working with you along with Dr. Battle and Dr. Gadson.
All right, so he's pushy. All right, so hello. So I'm going to move over here because I know it's being by the microphones. So I am in my, I don't know, I'm old. So I think 25th year. So I was a stay-home mama. So I was a stay-home mom, but I used to volunteer in my kids' school all the time, to the point where they're like, oh, okay, like you're here all the time. Do you want to get a job? So I was the little straight A little student. I never spoke when I was in high school. I was very quiet. I tutored all the football players so they could pass math. That was me. I had a full ride to college, and my grandfather passed away 2 weeks after I graduated, so I did not go. So I had a different path. It killed my mom and my dad, but we did what we had to do to help my grandmother and stuff. So I went back to college when I had 3 children. I would not recommend that to any person on the planet, but I did it anyhow, and I'm glad I did. And how did I know what path? It was because I was working at my kids' school. So I did a lot of tutoring. I was certified K-12 math. Anybody love math? Yay! All right, all 4 of us. So you know. So that was my path. So I was born and raised in St. Pete, Florida. So I had my teaching career in Florida. I was an elementary teacher because I figured I could help kids before they got lost in middle and high for math. And then I tutored my kids every year after they left me. I still tutored them through middle and high school, so I'm still very close with my students. And so I have leadership experience in school level, and then I also was a district level leader doing a lot of work with schools. And then I worked for the state in Florida with turnaround schools, so schools that were really struggling. I did a lot of work with those schools. And then 7 years ago, I moved here to Atlanta, and I worked for Atlanta Public Schools for 5 years. And then I left about the same time Dr. Battle did. I worked for the Department of Ed here. And then when she was coming here, there was, to Dr. Gadson's point, you don't say no to somebody as wonderful as her and as wonderful as you all are. So we are very glad to be back. And anything you all need, we are here for you. This is why we are here. So, okay.
Hi, everyone. I won't hold you. This is a whole lot of adults talking, and tonight is about you. My name is Erica Long. I'm honored to get to work here for Atlanta Public Schools. I've worked here for going on 8 years now, and I'm a graduate of this school district. I was born in the city of Atlanta. My parents were educated here in APS. I went here K-12. I graduated at the top of my class from Douglas High School. I had a full academic scholarship to Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida, and I went from there to Harvard Law School. I say all of that to say you have lots of life and lots of career and all kinds of twists and turns ahead of you. Sort of similar to Sherry, I got involved in APS as a parent. I had practiced law at a large law firm here in Atlanta and in Washington. I worked as a lobbyist for an insurance company in Washington, done all kinds of like fancy corporate things, but those jobs were not fulfilling to me. I was doing contract work as a lawyer when my son started kindergarten, first grade, and I started volunteering a lot at his school. That's when I met Dr. Battle as a parent. And I was one of those, okay, I can be like on the PTA, but I am a lawyer and I have a lot to offer. Where else can I lean in? And working as an advocate and volunteer at my child's elementary school, I got to know some of the folks working down here in the school district and have been doing policy, government affairs, board governance, district policy, all kinds of things since that time. You will have wins and losses, and you will have successes and failures, and you'll start one career and do another, and then one day somebody will call you on your way to your cruise and ask you to be a superintendent CEO, and you will say yes because you're brilliant, just like this woman here. But my point is, keep an open mind. Don't limit yourselves. Our job is to provide all kinds of access and opportunities for you so that you can be prepared for whatever is in front of you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we don't have time for any more questions. We just would like to know as a council, what can we expect moving forward from today? What can we expect moving forward from today? Yes, after hearing all of our questions and stuff.
You can expect some action. You can expect us to respond. You'll get a letter from me, an email back from me, but to tell you what the plan is. So you can expect some action from what you've heard today. We're listening to you. We are here for you. Your voices do matter. And when I read your letter, I told Erica, I was in tears almost. I was like, our kids are so brilliant. We know that, and they can express that, and we have to react. We have to act on it and make sure what we say, what they ask for, we need to provide for you. So you can expect some action, Burke.
Thank you for meeting with us. Can we give her a round of applause?
Thank you.
Awesome job. Thank you all. Are we okay to move to the next agenda item?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So in front of you, you have the interview focus group protocol for AP students. It's a one-pager. And we need to get your feedback. So this came from our academics division, teaching and learning. I know at the beginning of the year with our retreat, there were some questions about gifted and AP and IB and all of those things. And so as a district, we're focusing right now on gathering some data about the AP experience. Okay, so looking at these questions, number one, are they appropriate? Anything that you see that's missing on these questions, and then I'll inform you all of the charge that we're going to have of you to report back to us after you give us some feedback on these questions. So I'll give you about a minute to glaze over the questions, make notes, tear it up if you want to with a red pen, but let us know what you think. Are these the right questions? And if we need to make any additions, we can do that now. So about a minute. All right. Any feedback? Of course, number one, introduce yourself. Can't change that. We need to have that information. Please describe your experiences with AP, and then you have letters A through I. Yep, Mr. Goodman.
Hi, Dr. CT.
Hey.
My suggestion, or more like a question, is, of course, there are, there's like the in-person teacher AP classes, and then there are like the Edgenuity AP classes. So would it be sort of a good idea to include maybe a open-ended question about which AP style did you prefer, or which one did you take? Because I feel like that they would have a bit of different results from the students.
Thank you. I'm adding that. So just to make sure I'm clear, which AP style or like delivery style, whether it's Edgenuity or like traditional in person?
Right.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Any other questions? Yep, Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey Allen, Maynard Jackson. I was thinking we could add something about class culture, because I know it asks about support, but I think culture is a big thing. Like, do you feel safe being wrong or having conversations in your class?
Okay. So classroom culture.
Mm-hmm. And also maybe, do you feel like the class was valuable for your future, or do you, like, something like that?
Okay. Thank you. Let me make sure I saw classroom culture, like, is there a culture of error? That's like a concept or a philosophy. So like, is there a culture of error in your class? Okay, got it. Yes.
Tanaya, and I just have some input for the first question, because last year I took 2 AP classes that I didn't sign up for. So I wanted to add, like, if you didn't sign up for it, did you feel comfortable enough to try to drop it, or did they let you drop the class?
So you're saying, did you feel comfortable with remaining in the class or attempting to drop the class? Is that what you're
even
saying?
if you didn't sign up.
Okay, I'm gonna figure out how to like word it.
I think it should be like a scale, like on a scale from 1 to 10. What was your comfort level in the AP class?
Okay, does that reflect?
Kinda, but it's like, I feel like I didn't have a choice once they put it on my schedule.
Being forced
Yeah.
to take it. Okay.
Like, did you have the option to drop it?
Did you have the option to drop it? Okay. I got you. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm writing it down. Okay, all right. Yep, I'll just go around. Katara?
And I feel as if there should be an additional question about how knowledgeable the students are of their AP classes and how they can use them, because I feel as if sometimes we're put into AP classes. I know I was immediately once I got into high school, but I didn't fully, at least that first year, I didn't fully understand what that AP classes were or how I could use the credits or stuff like
yes.
that. And then so I feel as if on top of that question, at the bottom or at the end of the assessment, there could also be a list of just facts and information about the AP.
Okay. So make sure I have you, I understand you correctly. So how knowledgeable were you about the function or the benefits of advanced placement?
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. Okay, yep. Luke?
Luke McCullough, North Atlanta High School. Kind of following up with what she said, in regards to credit and like how beneficial you feel, I feel like there needs to be further explanation because they kind of market it as AP advanced placement. You get credit if you get this score. But I know a lot of universities or like higher education, they don't even take the credit. So I think maybe after point 4, be like, was your AP class, if applicable, beneficial towards your college education? Not that that applies to everyone, but it's kind of like one of the main marketing points of AP is that it will take time off college, save you money. But I know now that I'm a senior, it doesn't matter that I've gotten 5s on exams or 4s or whatever. A lot of these schools won't take it just due to their personal restrictions. So I think that needs to be definitely highlighted for a lot of schools.
Thank you. And I skipped Iridian. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, my name is Iridian, and okay. So first, I think we could merge just to shorten the list, maybe, because I know we have a lot of concerns. Like, what do you think that teachers do well? That's E, and then D supports, C supports. Just because maybe we can merge those together. There's a lot of what happens in the classroom and the way students feel supported is because of teachers.
Right.
So if we just blend those two together, I think it'll make it a little easier.
Yeah.
Or just like general question.
Great feedback.
And then like in addition, I really like what motivated you to sign up, but like maybe we could ask like what AP courses are taken in particular, maybe which ones are the most popular, so we can figure out like whether students are taking them because everybody else is taking them, or if their counselors really encourage it or like discourage other APs, or if they even know about the APs available. I feel like that could be a good question.
Good. And I know we can get data on like class sizes or like enrollment in specific AP classes, because I do understand that certain schools don't offer the whole shebang of AP courses. So thank you for that. That's been documented. I'm coming around. All right, Brooke.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with Iridian. I feel as if E and F should be removed simply because I feel like the way I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but the way it's worded is kind of like a poke at teachers. What did your teachers do well that you think our teachers should do? I just feel like what that teacher did in her classroom can't be the same that I do in my classroom or his classroom. I feel like we shouldn't compare each classroom because every teacher teaches differently to their teaching style. So I feel like we should ask it more as if, what did you, I don't know. Maybe as tasks, but not specifically saying teachers.
Okay. So do you have a recommendation on how we can gather feedback on the overall teaching experience, or like advice? Maybe it could be like, what advice would you give your AP teacher? I'm just trying to see how can we get direct feedback on the teaching and learning that's happening in an AP class.
I like did you feel the support? So because that goes together.
Okay. All right. You have something you want to add to that, Tyler?
Oh, yes. I was just talking to Madison and Luke, and I know that at my school, when they tried to put me in world history for AP, like, we learned straight from the book. Like, it was a big book, like, a huge one, and, like, we had to keep up with it. It was like, read this, we got an assignment on this, quiz on this, that's it.
And that was
And that was it. Like, so I feel like if we ask a question about, like, how was the interaction, like, is it just strictly, like, book work? Like, what is, like, the dynamics of the teaching? Like, the units and lessons and stuff
Okay,
like
I
that.
like the dynamics of the teaching,
Yes.
as opposed to the teacher. So that takes
Yeah.
away like the personal
Exactly,
piece of it.
and more so like the curriculum that they're being
Okay.
asked to teach.
So like a level of engagement or interaction.
Yes.
With the teaching and learning, right? The
Yes.
curriculum. Okay. Okay. Here. Yes. Is it working?
Okay. My name is Malik Paris. I am in 11th grade and I attend Carver STEAM. I feel as if because I take 2 advanced placement classes. Right now, I take language and composition and I take US history. And for the most part, because today I had an interim for both of my advanced placement classes, and in one of them, the teacher didn't even know we were having an interim till today, and the interim was on stuff that we didn't even learn, and she communicated to her staff that she thought as if that we weren't gonna pass the test because we didn't. I mean, the students felt that way too, but we didn't learn the material yet. So I feel that the teachers, I feel as if that the teachers shouldn't be doing anything differently, but the people that are in charge of giving the teachers the advanced placement material should be doing things differently instead of the teachers, because it mostly comes from them, and the teacher didn't know that we were having a test, and she didn't know that the material on the test she should have taught it before.
I see. So that's something that we call like a scope and sequence. Like, so the teachers are aware of when things are going to be assessed, especially if it's an interim assessment that's kind of pushed down through the district. So I'm going to try to formulate that in a question, but that might just be general feedback that I can give to the team. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, Venetia.
So going back on like what Brooke mentioned when she said something about taking a poke at the teachers when you ask certain questions.
Yes.
I honestly feel like letter I, did you feel prepared for the exam, could actually help answer that, because depending on how prepared you felt
Yes.
is basically saying how well did the teacher.
That's good. No, for sure. Absolutely. And I also think it speaks to like how you prepared yourself as well. Yep. All right, Herman, I'll come around and then I'll try to circle back and get the rest of them. Thank y'all for being patient.
Okay. Good morning or afternoon. My bad. My name is Herman McGee from Carver Early College, right? And my first suggestion that I'd like to add is that, well, one, like Iridian said, what class did you take? Just because I think it will give us a gauge of. I think you already addressed it, but
Yeah, I have that
Yeah,
somewhere.
okay.
Okay, yeah, I have it.
I don't have to reiterate. Then it was, would you like to take another class? Just so if we're establishing the motivation in question A, we're then bring it back as a last question just to see, hey, how did this go, and would you be motivated to take another class, something like that, right? And then what was the hardest part of the class? Just to get a gauge of where people are struggling, why they're struggling, how they're struggling, just so we could deal with that, so it'd be a little bit easier, make the process for them a little bit easier.
Got it. Thank you, Herman.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Liam.
I'd like to respectfully disagree with Brooke on the removal of E and F. I know that myself and many of my peers at my school have struggled with bad AP teachers in the past. And I think it's important that we have a metric for whether other students feel that there are things teachers are doing that they shouldn't be doing or that they should be doing differently. Because I know that's a feeling that me and many of my fellow classmates have and would like to express it in some outlet.
Okay. I circled those two. That's letter E and, C and E. I got that. So we have to just figure out the wording, and I'm going to get with our research folks. So Dr. Goss could not be here this evening. She's leading this research effort. So I'm gonna get with her about how can we like not make it a targeted question, but also capturing some of those concerns that you just mentioned. Thank you. All right, Mr. Goodman.
Hello. I would propose adding a caveat to question I. Did you feel prepared for the exam? Of course, an unmistakable part of an AP course is the exam. So I would propose adding a question. If you did take the exam, was your testing environment kind of the word inclusive or promoting to your success in the exam?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So was your testing environment supportive? Okay. Conducive to the, okay, got it. I got you. All right. Okay. All right, Tamar.
Hi, my name is Tamar Eccles. I'm from Benjamin E. Mays High School. And I just had a suggestion. You can form it in a question or whatever. But my suggestion or feedback was I'm an IB student, and we have an advisor for our teachers. So because when I took AP in 10th grade, I was like, no, I'm not doing this again. So my suggestion is because the teacher also felt like it was just a lot with her, and she also just felt like she wasn't being heard, and that like she gave, like Kyla said, like with AP World History, that she gave us a book, a presentation. She went through the slides, and it was, here, take this home, do the work. And it would be like a thick packet, and it's a thick packet of the units, but you want us to finish it by the end of the week, and I can't do that, or next week, and I can't do that. So in order for it to be structured and for the teacher to feel comfortable and for the students to feel comfortable, I feel like we should have an advisor. So just like IB, we have meetings, they plan things with us, and they talk us through like our internal oral assessments, our essays that we have to write. I have to write a 3-page essay for one of my IB classes. And they are talking us and getting us through it. We have a schedule for it. AP, I feel like you don't have that. So if they had an advisor, I feel like that would be more promotive for the AP courses.
All right, thank you, Ms. Eccles. And so speaking to that, I think it could kind of circle back under like C or like the support piece, because you're going to answer these questions as well. So just look for that survey from me, or not a survey, but like a questionnaire from me, because you all, for the most part, have taken or experienced AP classes in your high school career. But we don't want the questions to be leading. And so we want to like reveal some of these things that y'all are mentioning through the questioning. So I just want to keep that in mind, that we don't want the questions to be leading, for it to like give us a response that we're expecting. We want something unexpected to come from this research. So I think to your point, the support, that question, it may reveal what you mentioned, and I think Kyla mentioned as well, as like the big book and the packets and stuff. All right, I'm gonna do one more loop around, and we'll wrap up this conversation. Do we have time? I think we have one more thing. Someone double check. Brooke, if you could look at the agenda and see what is following this. I know we added the Student Bill of Rights discussion. Is that it? What are the items that are remaining? Okay, and then the added, then the Student Bill of Rights. Okay, we might have to table it. We might need to get a motion to table one of those depending on time. All right, let me get like 3 more. I know y'all might have been collaborating, so maybe just try to ask 2 questions with one person. Okay, yeah, sure.
Kelsey Allen, Maynard Jackson. I just want to clarify what number 4 meant by other advanced courses experiences, just so when the questionnaire goes out, what we know, like we're answering to.
So we actually had that conversation when we met with our ad-hoc committee chairs on Monday about, again, we don't want to have leading questions. So I'm hearing like IB, dual enrollment, AC, I always mess up the acronym, ACCA. So we want that to be exposed a little bit as well. So that's what that question means. Okay, good point of clarity. Yep, Liam.
Liam Smith, Maynard Jackson. This is adjacent to something that was mentioned before, but the question that I'd propose adding is, do you feel as if your teacher/class had the necessary resources in order to properly teach the curriculum / prepare for the exam? And also pursuant to that, I'd also potentially reach out to the teachers as well and ask about their experience teaching the course, whether or not they felt prepared, whether or not they felt supported within their, I guess, administrative frameworks in order to actually teach the curriculum and offer a class that is up to AP standards.
Got it. All right. This particular study is just focused on students, but I added as a piece of feedback, maybe they should do another study in tandem with this one. So, yep. Thank you.
Tanaya Lawrence from Mays. I just wanted to add that I believe that the teachers are teaching towards the exam instead of trying to get the students to actually learn the material. And I was going to say, could we add a question like something, what's the material that was taught actually on the exam? Because last year I took the AP exam, and it was only a few things that I learned that was on there. The rest of the stuff was stuff I had never even heard of.
Okay, so was the material aligned to the content on the exam?
Yes.
All right, gotcha. All right, one more. That's it. That's all we have time for. Yes.
I feel as if there should be a question of, were you placed in the AP class, or were you or did you choose to be?
And that could piggyback off of, who said that earlier? The forcing conversation. So placed versus did you select it? All right. All right, if you have any other ideas, this is not the close of the conversation, but you know how to get to us via text, group me, email, all of the above. But this is great feedback. I will make the adjustments to the questions because the ask is twofold. I need your responses once I clean up this list, right? So you can just respond to me via email. It doesn't have to be anything like a fancy form or whatever. So I'll send that to you all separately. And then number 2, the goal is for each of you to interview 5 of your peers to get the answers to the questions. Now, you don't have to ask the 5 all of the questions, so pick maybe 2 questions to ask 2 different ones. Of course, you're going to get the general, like name, grade level, that kind of thing. Of course, the data is not going to be like in the report saying that, Denisha said. It's not going to be that way, but it's going to be like student senior from Mays High School said, right? So you're not going to be identified in that way, shape, or form, so you can assure your peers that. And then we're trying to get all of this information by October the 11th. I know that's during your fall break, so that means that next week you need to be talking to people and responding. It can be, you can text them, you can email them, you can call them and write down their responses. It's not going to be a formulaic way of you documenting the responses, but there has to be a way for you to get me the responses so I can compile it and send it to our research team. Any final questions about the task?
I think it would be helpful both for you consolidating the information and for us collecting it if there were to just be a form created with a QR code. We could show it to people.
Are
and they
y'all
can fill
okay
it
with
out.
that? Because I know we about to be in survey season, y'all. And so I don't want this to feel like another survey because I can do that. No problem. I'm a fan of QR codes and forms. Are y'all okay with that?
Please no survey while we try to push out the student bill of rights as well.
So yeah, how are we gonna collect the information? Maybe I can have options. Like if you want to put it in the form, you can. If not, if you want to just drop it in an email, you can. Because it's not like, we don't want them to fill it out. We just want you to ask them. It could be at lunch. Hey, did you feel prepared for your AP class? Or hey, what do you think supports you need? Or whatever. Okay, so it could be very informal, but I can give options, right? So if you want to put it in a form, the responses in the form, you can. If you don't and you just want to ask informally and send it to me, that's fine too. Is that cool? Yep.
I know that you want feedback from us too, so I was gonna say for us we have like a Google form, and then when we interview people, we could just email it to you or
and you can choose to use the same form or you can just email it to me. That's fine. I'm open to that. I can do the hard work on the back end.
And then in regards to like a Google form, I don't think it's like the best idea, as we said, to like give everyone a Google form because it's just too much.
Yes.
But maybe just for like the data's sake and like your time's sake, if we push out one just to us to be able to put our like interviews into it and just like send it off to you, because I know most of us will probably be taking it down on like a notes app or something.
Right.
And I just know that's probably going to be easier in terms of like writing stuff down than having to take pictures, just time's sake.
I appreciate you
Yeah,
considering
of course,
my
'cause-
time. That's so sweet. So yeah, I can do that. We can do that. And again, I'm open to either way. I don't mind getting it together. All right, we're time. Thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'll clean it up and get it back to you.
All right. So I know we just went through a lot of great information, great feedback that Dr. CT is going to push out and clean up and make sure that you guys have to enter back into your schools. However, that goes to my point about accountability and the culture and behaviors of how we operate inside of our schools. And so it's great that Mr. Gaither walked back in at this time because of the simple fact is we are still at a place, I think we're going in the right direction, but we're still at a place where information that is happening inside of this room is not translating or entering back into your school buildings, to your student government associations, and pushed out to the average student inside of your school buildings. And so I hear you guys are saying about no more of this, no more of that, and I think it comes from a lot of people do not take these things serious, or communication barriers between receiving information and giving the information out, right? And so I want to bring Mr. Gaither up because he just left. He just left. And as you walking up and get your question, but he just left one of our high schools, and I know he's passionate. He has a lot he's about to say to y'all. But it goes back to we got to create this space that we really want to see happen. So he's gonna walk up tomorrow. We're gonna hear from you, and then I'm gonna turn it over to him.
Okay, so you know what I'm about to say. So, it don't really, okay, I'm not gonna say it don't come from us. Of course, we gotta leave this room and give it back to them. But I also think I check my emails every day. The teachers check their email. Like, if y'all could just email it to us and CC our registrars and people like that. Like, I think if you I don't know, I feel like an effective way, because when you email people, you can't say you didn't try to get it back to the other schools and that we didn't try or something like that. You know what I'm saying? We also all have a lot going. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't respond to the emails.
So on the group me, someone said, "How do you check your APS email?" I'm like, "Really? You don't know how to check your AP?"
But that's because we have our original emails. Like, I don't really check my APS.
So I will have to so for some of you, I have personal emails. For some of you, I only have your APS email. So we will clean it up with Deja to make sure that we have your personal email. And I'm also going to try to talk to somebody in AP so y'all can, and IT, to make sure y'all can start getting some emails from like colleges. If it has a .edu, I feel like y'all should be able to receive that as well, but that's another conversation. All right.
So good evening. Good evening. So I'm going to be very quick. What I will say, I will not mention the school, but I did just leave a school where I had an opportunity to engage with about 25 to 30 students. And it was a very interesting conversation. However, the issue is, and this is something that we talk about internally, is the transfer of information and who's responsible for it. And so today I can only deal with who we're talking to today, and just want to make sure that we're on the same page just around shared accountability. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, or why Keith put me on the spot, is because one of the questions I asked is, who is your SAC representative? You have two, and nobody could mention not one. Right? The other part of that, so my homework assignment is to provide them with their SAC representative so that they can know, so they can have access to that information. But then the other piece of that is just the sharing of information from what is happening here to your student government associations to the student body. And so I know that there are some barriers that may exist. I think we hear now about maybe there are ways that we need to get information directly to the student body versus going through these different phases. How whatsoever, and that's a word I made up, how whatsoever, it is your responsibility to bring that feedback to the district, because what we are hearing is that the engagement on the district level is beautiful. However, when we get back to the local level, the schools, students don't feel included. And a lot of great things have come out of this particular session, Hazel Health being one. I asked the question about Hazel Health. We asked this question with breakfast with the board. We asked the question again today. Nobody knows about Hazel Health, but that was something that came out of the Student Advisory Council. So again, it's not to point a finger at anybody in this particular room, but it's about how do we move forward and have a level of shared accountability to ensure that what you guys are discussing that it makes it way back to the local level, which is the school, because if not, all of this is for naught, right? And so the purpose of you guys being in this position, which is why we only allowed the SGA to select one person. The other piece was a registration process, and still, and I know Keith was sending out information, but they didn't even know about the process. So what I'm gonna ask of you guys, again, we're not pointing the blame, we just want to deal with the reality of what has been said, the engagement around it. But the question I am going to ask, and I hope, Madam Chair, that we can get to a place of figuring out what is our communication loop, right? Let's figure out what we can do as a student body. And then if that's not working, and if it's an adult issue, then we'll take that back to the superintendent and her team to help assist with that. But again, I just want to make sure we've done all that we can do as a student body who's been appointed to these particular seats. And so again, that may look different at every school, right? Not every school operates the same way. Maybe it's not the SGA. Maybe the SAC members need to call a meeting just to provide these updates to ensure that folks have access. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that. I see a question here, but I just wanted to say, literally, I just left a school. Nobody in the room knew anything about SAC, did not know who their representatives, could not identify their representatives. And they also talked about not being engaged with Student Government Association, which some of you guys represent. And so we talk about what's not happening, but there's a piece that we play as it relates to shared accountability. Yes.
This is really more of a statement than a question, but really basically from what we were talking about most of the meeting is really what's happening at the schools, like the teachers and the staff, but really most of the time it's how the students feel about the staff and how the staff think the students feel about them. So it's just really a circle of harm going around during the school, which causes inclusivity inside of the school. And the fact that the students don't really talk to the teachers because the teachers feel like the students don't want to talk to them, so the teachers don't want to talk to the students as well. It causes all of these problems inside of classrooms, inside of our learning environments, inside of really anything we do inside of these schools. So me personally, I make it known that I'm on the student advisory or student government. I say, if you have something to say, then tell me, because I'm going to get it back to the staff of the school. So I really think that most of the student advisory members in this room right now should make it known that you're part of a student advisory council and that you're for your school, because I'm sure that's why you're here. So we have to connect we have to connect the students with the teachers and the staff. So in order for us to better our schools, we have to basically communication is key. That's really all I have.
So I just want to acknowledge what I heard, right? That there could be some barriers with engaging with adults in the building, right? But I also heard that you put some shared accountability, which is where I am today, right? Not necessarily student to teacher or student to administration, but peer to peer. And so the push that I'm giving today is that or the request or the call to action is what you just said. I need to make sure that you guys are having conversations with members of the student body. That could be through the Student Government Association. That could be in classroom conversations that you guys are having. Could be in social media posts. I just want to encourage us to be a lot more aggressive in that effort, given the fact that you guys are the representatives of the student body of the district. But I do hear you around that, and I think that's the same conversations that Ms. Echoes were having just around communication, so it's real. And it sounds like it's in two different locations, so I want to acknowledge that. But my part of the conversation today is just where we can start, right? As we start working through some of the other issues, is what can I do today? And that's the push that I want to give to you guys, is how can you encourage at least 5 of your friends to talk to 5 of their friends to ensure that the information is being shared. And I'm saying the information that you guys have received. And so that's the conversation I'm having. But I do hear you and I acknowledge that. Ms. Sewell, and then I'm gonna come here. And wait, are we at time?
We probably need a motion to I know.
So I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Go, Kyle, and then yes.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with everybody in here. Today I was like, oh shoot, Miss Kira coming tomorrow, and I ain't got no feedback. So I just went to SGA. I was like, y'all just fill this out real quick. They was like, we not filling this out. There's a lot of questions. I was like, okay, cool. So I texted my mentor. I was like, can you put this in the advisory slide so we at least have a little some? But I don't think she gonna put it in the. So like, can we just come up with a shared method of communication? Like, can we just like say, hey, we're gonna do this to communicate. Like, we're gonna tell everybody, like, hey, put this in the advisory slides, or hey, let's just try to call like a little mini town hall, something. So we not all like having different methods of communication is different like outcomes.
It depends on the school on what they prefer. Some schools have Remind. Some schools have their own app. Some schools don't. And so it's really, you tell me, right? So when I went to Washington High the other day, Brooke was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be on announcements every day. I'm going to make sure it's going to be an advisement and da-da-da-da-da, right? And so I had an opportunity to talk to students also while I was there. Another school, when I was at South Atlanta, at North Atlanta, I was like, oh, we have an app, right? And so it just depends on the school. You all can do what you did, which I really appreciate, of sending it to your whoever does the advisement slides, whoever your SGA. Some I've heard from, some I haven't. Some I've done like, let me roll up to the school and introduce myself. That's what I did yesterday at Drew Charter. And so it's a team effort, and it's not going to be a one size fits all. I did ask the question about like, what's the best way to communicate with students in general, and it was Instagram and TikTok. As a district, we can't have a TikTok account, but we do have an Instagram and Twitter. All right, we have 1 minute.
So I'm gonna try to make it real quick. So just about ad-hoc committees, and then I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Brooke. So ad-hoc committees, how many of you guys have met with your point of contacts from your departments? What committee? Schools? Equity? All right, so operations reached out. Operations committee.
Okay.
Did y'all hear back from?
So we had some issues. So first they sent us an email, and then we tried to send one back. We sent it through our school email, but it didn't seem to send through. So we sent it a follow-up email through like a personal email, but we still haven't heard anything.
So let's go through process. So anytime that you guys are engaging with your point of contact from departments, that please CC myself and Dr. CT so that we can serve as, because that's our role, to make sure that you guys receive a follow-up email from the departments, and we can stay abreast about what is going on as it relates to your committee work. Y'all, we have, and I'm gonna let Dr. Battle, because I know Dr. Battle is coming into this work new, so I'm gonna talk to you guys, but also bring Dr. Battle up to speed as well. So each year, again, each council is responsible for carrying out the recommendations of the previous year. My biggest goal, as I've been doing this work, my biggest goal this year is just to see you guys, the ad hoc committees, working to address these recommendations and bring forth the changes you guys said that you guys wanted to see based off of the previous year. The only way it cannot happen in this form right here. You guys have to work outside of this meeting with your point of contact from your departments to start addressing these recommendations. And then these meetings are supposed to be for a report out about what status updates, what are you guys going to do? Also, what you have to take into consideration is not every person from every school serves on these ad hoc committees, which means what? You guys need to be working with each other, because I know in operations, I saw Dr. CT over at one of our schools doing chat and chew, talking about the food, how's the food, doing surveys about that. So a part of my operations committee, you guys need to be saying, hey, I know they're talking about nutrition. How's the food? Like, y'all need to start doing campaigns and then working with your delegates to figure out how you guys pushing out this thing. Be creative. I know surveys not working. Be creative. Do short videos. Do quick polls. I know you go into restaurants. You can do a quick rating. One being the worst and 10 being the best. Like, just do certain things, because when you guys are having these conversations, it is best to have data or some type of facts that you can back up what your argument is. You can't. The food is bad. Well, how do you know it's bad? Because I surveyed X amount of people. They said this, but again, you guys as the body, how many of y'all know y'all powers? Like right now, do you feel like you have the power to bring change inside of your school? And I think, again, that goes back. I'm getting on my soapbox. We got to go. I really tell you guys, you have power. And I think the problem is that schools do not motivate or encourage you to utilize your power that you have. Y'all have power. Use it. You guys are sitting in these seats, and going back to Brooke, what you said last year, it's 26 people on this council, but it's 52,000 students. It's less than that now, Brooke. But it's 52,000 students. How are we speaking for the elementary middle? That is your job, to figure out how do we elevate their voices. How do we make sure that elementary school or H.J. Russell, how do we get their voice all the way into this room? We got our whole superintendent sitting over here, y'all. She's in the room right now. The superintendent. How are we elevating our student voices? Because we look good in our sweaters, we look good doing what we do, but our work cannot be impactful if we do not hear from the pre-K kindergarten student in our school building. All right? So we have to really do our job and do our part in making sure that we are creating the education experiences that you guys want to see. This y'all school. We've been here already. This is for y'all, all right? That's my soap opera.
So we need two motions. We need one motion to table the conversation of Student Bill of Rights. And you can say I move, not I motion, or you can say so moved. And then we need a motion to adjourn. So do we have a motion to table the Student Bill of Rights discussion?
I put forth a motion.
Hold on, I would like to add a motion.
Okay.
I would like to motion that all committee chairs stay 10 minutes after today's meeting.
All right,
Can we do that? Is that possible? Okay.
Okay, sure. So right now we have three. So we have one motion for the ad hoc committee chairs to stay 10 minutes after the meeting, correct? Did I say that correct?
Correct.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So move.
All right. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. And then do we have a motion to table the discussion? You say, I'm going to help you because I know we just learned Robert's rules last month. So say, do we have a motion to table the discussion of Student Bill of Rights?
Do we have a motion to table the discussion of Student Bill of Rights?
So move.
I would like to put forth a motion to table my
We have
earlier.
a second. We have a motion open on the floor. It has not been seconded yet.
I second the
I
motion
second the
to
motion.
table the discussion.
All right, second it. And then
It was moved by Peyton and properly seconded by Liam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
all in like the whole all in favor. You got to clear all.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. And then
Liam?
I was trying to put forth or second that motion, but I didn't realize that you had to put forth, or that the motion was already put forth to second
yes.
it.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. And then the final motion is.
I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
So move.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All committee chairs, please make sure you stay after our picture. Hey, committee chairs, I don't want to hold you long. I know you were talking. Madison, Iridian, Anike, Tamar, and Kevin. Anike, Kevin, Madison. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Kevin not here. Where's Madison? That's it, Madison right there. Can we have an operations representative? I thought there they go. Whoever's still here, can you make my job a lot easier and put your name card in the notebook for me?